Testing. You guys hear me now?
Should be good now.
Okay.
Okay, we were talking about soul hackers.
Right.
Alright, so starting again in 3, 2, 1. We had a
Okay.
real quick break here due to some technical streaming issues, so we were talking about soul hackers before, so we're gonna hit at wherever. We love 90s cyberpunk. I guess that's where we were getting.
Yeah. Yeah. I basically got to I guess what's the first dungeon where you're not. Let me see. Okay, maybe I should rewind a bit. So this game, it was released back in I think 97-ish
It was originally
or
a Sega
99-ish.
Saturn game, and then
Yeah.
event was ported over to the PS1 in Japan. So, whatever era that was, sounds like 97
Yeah.
thereabouts.
And the big deal is that you have this city that is a really, really good network,
Hmm.
and they have a cyber city that's going into beta that you hack yourself a identity into.
Yeah.
Um, and then when you get in there, I'm trying to remember how it goes. Do you hack a guy's memory? Is that what happens?
I don't know. So that was really weird because you walk through this whole virtual city and you get this cool tour and everybody's super excited about it opening, and then you go to leave and then there's that cyber coyote thing, and then next thing
Oh
you know you're in
yeah,
somebody's memory wandering around like this bank building or something. I was sort of like, I don't wait, how did I get here? I don't think I
yeah,
understand.
yeah. You see, I got through the bank building, and
That's where I stopped, was like right at the beginning where it's like, oh, this is gonna be a dungeon. I can't do this right now.
well, that dungeon is actually really easy and quick.
Hmm.
It's the one after it, because that one's almost not a real dungeon, because your guy's well enough equipped to handle whatever you run into.
Oh,
Uh,
okay. So just a tutorial dungeon,
yeah,
basically.
it's almost like, honestly, it reminds me of some of the talk I've heard about that Ubisoft game coming out. Remember Me, where
Hmm.
you go to a crime scene and kind of reenact it.
Yeah.
It's almost like that, because you come out of that, and then you have your main character now has more information on an area that he hasn't been to before, but he saw through this guy's memory.
Hmm.
Um,
That's kind of cool.
it's got a lot of really cool ideas and things in it. I'm curious to see if they build on that as kind of a puzzle solving mechanic throughout the game, or if it's just going to be very linear or not.
Right.
Um, But yeah, like after that, you go back to the building as a kid, and that's when it's really the first dungeon. And I remembered why you have to save often, and why if you're on the floor where all the demons are just going to automatically join your team, you should probably stay on that floor until you get them all, and not continue on and die horribly at a boss with an electric guitar.
Oh, SMT.
Yeah,
I'll
but
never stop loving you.
I look forward to it. It just hasn't. I haven't hit the right mood where I want to sit down on the couch or the bed or something and play a
Yeah,
handheld
like it
yet.
hasn't really grabbed you yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. So then I started a new game on Persona 4.
Okay.
Just did a save game plus thing, and didn't make it very far, but I just wanted something quick and simple that I already knew, didn't need explaining for.
Yeah.
And second playthrough, going for Chie since my courage is already maxed out, and
Yeah.
I can ask her all those things.
Ask her for a number right out
Yeah.
the gate.
That game goes quite a bit faster whenever you've played it before. Like, I just burned through Yukiko's castle.
It's kind of fun. Like playing through the second time where you're like, yeah, I got this. I know what I need to do. And oh, I'm fighting the knight. Oh, he's dead in 2 hits. All right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just spent all my money on a real powerful Persona, and
Yeah. All you need is really
there.
one.
hmm
Yeah.
um, I don't know. And this playthrough, I might actually get the achievement for reading everything since I'll have time.
Oh man, that one is actually. You need to look up a walkthrough on that one, because there's actually 2 books you can miss if you know how people sometimes on like Saturdays or Sundays will call you and be like, yo, you want to hang out, and most times you're like, no, For two of them, you have to say yes, and you have to pick a specific answer during one of those. I know one of them is like the your sports friends. I know they're like, hey, you want to come study with us? And usually they're like, no, I want to go have a date with a lady.
Ah, crap! I already messed that one up. I just had that one.
No.
uh, I'm probably only keeping one save too. Oh well. You know what? This will be my evil playthrough then.
There you go. I'm not
That'll be
reading
resolved.
nothing.
Yeah. No, I'm just gonna. Evil people don't read. There you go.
That's right. I've heard that.
Um, I say that I'm barely playing it. Just every once in a while. Uh, and then I went back to the Elder Scrolls back.
Okay.
I played a ton of Oblivion. Finished up the Thieves Guild with my thief character, and then I was going to go start the Assassin's Guild, and I'm trying to remember how it went. For some reason, I started the Fighters Guild in this one town, and I don't know why. They just gave me a mission. They're like, "Yeah, this lady has some rats from her basement. Go kill them." I'm like,
You like punching
yeah,
dudes? How about the Fighters Guild?
I've been to this one. Yeah, you guys haven't put any work to this. And then I get to the house and I meet the lady, and I'm like, okay, so where are the rats I gotta kill? And the lady's like, no, don't kill the rats. It's the mountain lion that's killing the rats. The rats are my babies. I'm like, what?
You're like, oh, there's nothing I can do to help you, lady. I'm sorry.
Left turn.
Yeah.
It turns out, like, the story ends in that she has a neighbor who has been putting, like, food outside of this chick's basement to get
Right.
the rats out in hopes that they'll die. And instead, what's been happening is a mountain lion's been coming and getting the food and then going into her basement.
Huh,
And, like,
jeez.
the whole quest is written like with the lady talking about mountain lions like we would rats, where she's like, "Oh, when there's one, there's hundreds of them," and it was pretty humorous.
Yeah.
But anyway, so then I went and joined the Assassin's Guild, which you do by killing someone. So I just picked a city guard that was away from everything, put on my gray fox mask so I wouldn't incur a bounty,
Yeah.
and funny story when you go and talk to. Maybe I should rewind a bit. The Gray Fox mask is the mask you get from completing the Thieves Guild.
Hmm.
And as long as you have it on it, everyone thinks you're this 100 years old super thief person. So I put that on, and first I went and talked to the guard. And usually when you talk to a guard, they're like, okay, here's the deal on your bounty. And this guy just went, you're the Gray Fox. You're wanted for lots of stuff. Like,
Whoops.
he's really surprised and freaked out. But that's okay, because I killed him anyway, because that was the whole point of that
Yeah.
situation.
Now no one will ever know.
Yeah. So then some guy contacts me, and like the Assassin's quest on this is something I've heard numerous people talk very, very highly about.
Oh yeah, that's one of the things you always hear where it's like, oh man, you gotta do the Assassin's Quest.
Yeah. I went through I went through a bunch of them, which were kind of neat. They range from, okay, you got to kill this guy. He takes a nap at his chair at X amount of time. So what you have to do is sneak into his attic and make it look like an accident. So you're going to untie his chandelier so it falls on him.
Yeah.
They have another one. Actually, my favorite one so far is also probably the easiest one, where they're like, so these 5 people need to die. So what we've done is we've set up an empty house that we're going to lock all of them in and you in for however long it takes, and we've told everyone that there's a chest with $1 million in it.
Okay.
Whoever finds the chest wins it, and your job is to kill them all without them realizing that you're killing them.
Okay.
And it's quite a bit of fun because you'll talk to one lady and she's like, "Oh, I got a crush on this guy," and you'll be like, "Oh, I heard he likes you too. Go meet him in his bedroom." Wink, wink.
It's
And
kind
then
of
you'll
like
go
a
and
murder
kill-
mystery.
Yeah, except you're the monster.
Yeah, yeah. Except you're the bad guy.
It's kind of amazing. And they all their speech patterns update after each person dies. And it's kind of done up so that you can kill them in any order.
Yeah.
And the way I did it is like when it came down to the last 2 people, like one of them liked me so much that he killed the other guy because he thought the other guy was the killer.
Wow.
It was really neat. And then I got to a quest that I don't. It's going to be really hard for me to do because because they have, you have an assassin's den with your assassin's friends, and they give you advice for each mission, and they have entertaining things to say. And I just got a special order that I have to kill them all.
Uh, whoops.
And I don't like killing people. I like
Yeah.
it's I didn't expect the game to ask me to do that, so I kind of when it hit that, I thought, okay, I need a break, so I'm gonna go play Skyrim.
Yeah.
Because something is wrong with me, and I'm just going to replay these games forever and ever and ever. But hey, at least I'm not playing Mass Effect again, right? So Skyrim, went back to my original character that I quit because I thought she wasn't powerful enough. And
Okay.
boy, was I wrong. I am slaughtering everything, and it's pretty nice.
Nice.
I decided basically what I'm going for is I'm going to start doing the Dawn Guard missions.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, with Skyrim, all you ever do is get sidetracked. So I've just barely started those.
Yeah.
One of the things I got sidetracked on is my wife in the game, Ayla. I guess a long time ago, she got captured by bandits, and I saved her. And I hadn't really used her as a follower since. But since I was going to go after vampires, I thought, man, I'm going to bring a werewolf with me. That'll be
Hell
awesome.
yeah.
And
I've
so I
seen the
bring her.
Underworld movies. I know what happens.
Exactly. See? So I went and grabbed her, and now she's all walking backwards and moving really slow, and I can't
Oh,
figure out
weird.
what's wrong.
She
And I'm,
got bugged out, it sounds like.
yeah, I'm trying all these AI fixes, and went into the console and turned her AI off, and then back on, and
Oh, jeez.
it turns out what happens is there's a quest associated with Hearthfire.
Okay.
And I know I've said really positive things about Hearthfire in the past, but it is the most glitchy piece of junk in the world.
Oh.
And the issue is when you build your house and your spouse is there, at some point they will get captured by bandits.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go to the bandit outpost, like the way the sequence is supposed to play out is you kill the bandits, get in there, unlock them from a jail cell, they come out, a bandit appears behind you, and then the spouse kills that bandit.
Okay.
The way it happened for me is I killed the bandits at the site, went in there, and she was just standing there. Like, she wasn't locked up at all, so we just left, and it's way too late for me to go back to that. But
Yeah.
luckily there was a fix in that I just do the console command to resurrect her, and it fixes it.
Oh, nice.
So yay!
God, that's weird.
Yeah.
Good thing you're playing on PC.
I seriously. So don't buy Hearthfire if you're playing on 360.
Yeah, it sounds like you're really rolling dice there.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because okay, the first house you build, it's neat. The second and third house you build, it's just like, God, do I really have to get all these stupid materials and click these buttons until I have a house again?
Yeah.
I mean, they do some neat stuff in it, but it's just you would think it seems too simple for them to have mucked it up so bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I started the Dawn Guard. I went over to the fortress where the leader of the Dawn Guard's talking to a guy, and the guy's asking for help, and the leader of the Dawn Guard seems kind of jerkish, but maybe not. And they have like a new guy that shows up the same time as you, which it's kind of funny because you show up and the Dawn Guard guy's like, "Yeah, sure. Here's a crossbow. Go to this place, kill some vampires." And you're like, "Awesome."
All right. I love fighting vampires.
And then you hear the recruit behind you get up there, and the guy's like, where are you from?" And the guy's like, I'm from blah, blah, blah. And he's like, "Really? So what weapon do you use?" He's like, "My papa's axe."
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, we're going to train first."
Oh, wow.
Like, cool, I get automatic cred.
Yeah.
Even if he doesn't know that I'm the
And a
freaking
crossbow.
Dragonborn. It saved everyone from dragons.
And maybe a vampire.
I'm Dragon Jesus, thank you very much.
Yeah.
But that, I believe, reaches the limit of my RPG play this month.
Oh, okay. We already talked about Soul Hackers and Alpha Protocol, so that's half of my list there. Played a little bit more Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning. I haven't been in the right mood to sit back down with it and really get back into it. I did a couple of missions when I was in there, and I'm in one area, like, I always have problems with swampy areas in RPGs. I don't know why it is. Every time I run into one of those, I'm like, oh god. Here we go. I'm going to be circling this giant lake and these swamps in this one area and fighting
Ugh.
who knows what. And it's kind of a bummer.
Do they
But
make you slow walk through water or anything like that?
no, thankfully, you don't really go into any water. And anytime you do in the game, it's only like, it's not even past your knees, so you're just sort
Okay.
of clomping right through it.
So it's just kind of a maze, is what it is.
No, it's just kind of a boring area. Like
Oh,
it's not even really mazy. It's just sort of, I think it's because it's also like that swampy, murky green, like that
yeah.
that color palette is just sort of like, oh, this is a bummer.
And the rest of the game's pretty brightly colored, isn't it?
It is, which I think is weird because I really like bright colored games, and I think now that it's back to what maybe normal JRPGs or normal RPGs are, then just sort of bummed out. Um, the only thing that I found was really cool is I finally got my first player house, which was kind of neat. And it was kind of disappointing though because as it kept, I could go and I could give money and items to this dude in town to keep expanding my house. And after one point, I expanded it all the way right out of the gate. And you do it in like little chunks. One of the chunks, he said, "Oh man, be careful. Next time you go in, the what we just did unearthed some sort of horrible demon in your basement. So might not want to go down there anymore." So the first thing I did was I went down there,
Yeah,
um,
absolutely.
and there was nothing in there.
What?
There's no demon. I wanted to fight my basement demon, but either it had bugged out or because I had gone and I had upgraded it past that point, it overrode it. I don't know. So that was kind of a bummer because I was
Yeah.
almost excuse me. I was almost hoping it was like that Chrono Trigger dungeon where you're going back and forth between 600 AD and 1000 AD, where you're fixing up that church or whatever. I was sort of hoping it was like that, where it's like, oh man, now we fixed it up. Now go clean out that stuff before we can do it again. I was like, yeah, and there's nothing there.
Yeah.
But it's still a great game, and it's what's really nice about it is I hadn't played it for probably almost a month, if not over a month, and hopped right back into it and just started playing. Didn't felt like I didn't ever really miss a beat. So I really have to give the game. I really have to give any game credit that is lets you do that instead of like, oh man, where was I? What was I? How do I even fight people in this thing? Like I can barely walk. In this game it was just, oh yeah, there's a bunch of stuff on your map. Go look at your quest log. You're good. Um,
Cool.
so I think I'll get back to it eventually because it's really good. I haven't really had the time to sit down. A game like that, you really want to sit down, like, like on a day like today, and just sort of sit there and play for 4 or 5 hours straight.
Yeah.
And I'm not afforded that time at the moment. But the only other game I've been playing is my girlfriend and I've been playing a lot of Borderlands 2. The now that the level cap got raised from 50 to 60, we were sort of boycotting it before then, because there wasn't really a reason for us to keep playing the game if we weren't leveling up. There wasn't a lot of content for us to play. There wasn't, and I feel like we had sort of played it almost a little too much originally. So we took a break, and now that it came out, we finished our second playthrough, which was great. That final boss is still really good. Didn't drop any orange items on second playthrough for us, though, which I thought was a little weird.
Hmm.
And now with the patch, not only does it go up to 60, but you can have a third playthrough now. It's called the Ultimate Vault Hunter mode. And man, is that thing one of the toughest things I have ever played. Um, all enemies have 4 times the health.
Oh gosh.
There are new types of enemies. All enemies regen health. So like when we went in, we were level 51, I think, and we couldn't even make it to that first boss, that Captain Flint, whatever. We couldn't
Yeah.
even make we couldn't even make it to that guy. Like, like that's how challenging it
Jeez.
is. But what's great is they made the content scale up pretty much all the time, and you can restart the game at any point in third playthrough. So like if you get to a point and you say, "Well, okay, I just want to restart this," hit a button, restart the entire game. And third playthrough skips that whole sort of terrible, boring beginning tutorial section where you're following around a claptrap and you're learning how to fire a weapon and you're fighting, that one big bullymong and all that stuff. Skips all that stuff, which is great. You just land right outside of Liarsburg and then you're just off and running. So I think it's really great that a they added a new mode for people that they're fully outfitted with orange weapons and they're totally cruising through second playthrough and they're farming Terramorphous and all that stuff and really giving people a chance to really challenge themselves. And there's an entirely new weapon tier in the third playthrough. There's the pearlescent weapons from the first one return.
Have you found any yet?
No, 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 not. Apparently, they have kind of low drop rates from enemies. They have okay drop rates from chests, and there's not a lot of chests in that beginning area. So I really got to give them a lot of credit for adding something that's super super difficult, but it is probably not anything that we're gonna play until we're much closer to 60, even if maybe even after that. So we've been sort of going back through and playing some of the older stuff and playing through second playthrough some of the DLC on that, and trying to get our levels up. And it's just kind of fun after taking a break from it for a while, just to play Borderlands 2 again. It's been a while, and it's been a while since she and I have really played something together. And Borderlands 2 is just great because you're not. I really like. I think the older I get, the more I really like co-op games as opposed to competitive games. Is I really want to sit on my couch with my girlfriend and play through a game together. And I really value that Borderlands 2 does that so well. And it's just a blast. It's still Borderlands 2, and it's still really great and really fun to play. So more of it is better. So I don't.
Yeah.
You know.
Susie and I need a. I hate playing that game split screen. We need
Yeah, I mean we do have kind of a unique setup. So for us, we have our couch, and then in front of it we have both of our TVs and then both of our 360s, and we just play System Link, which is not something that I think most people can probably either afford or have the room for. But we both like playing games so much that we can't really share the TV, and we want to play this sort of stuff together. So
yeah.
that of course would be my recommendation, but I think it's probably cost and space prohibitive for
Yeah.
most, understandably so.
Yeah, I don't know. And I was looking at this is well, off topic and not off topic. Freaking Dragon Crown. I was looking that up. It's not going to be crossplay.
Oh, really?
It'll come out for PS3 and PS Vita, but it won't be crossplay. And as far as I can tell, they don't sell a double copy thing, which really sucks because I
Yeah.
want it for Vita, but it looks like it'll be too much fun co-op, so I have to get it for PS3.
Now I have to look at what I'm getting it for. I think I'm getting it for PS3 because that does sound like it's a good. Those old school beat 'em ups are always really great for some couch
Yeah.
co-op.
Yeah, well, it's supposed to have like skill trees and leveling up and stuff too. So,
Ooh, nice. Yeah, I don't know too much about it.
well, that's about the extent of my knowledge on it.
Okay, so we're hoping it's an RPG, so we can talk about it on the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the only other game I was playing this month is I thousand pointed at BioShock Infinite, so I was sort of spending my time playing that game over and over.
I would, it's been almost because I went through BioShock Infinite too, and it's taken all of my willpower not to just run through another playthrough of that game because I so desperately want to see everything I missed the first time through.
You probably should. It's not as long as it was the first time, and you pick up a lot of extra stuff.
Mm.
After you know sort of the whole story, playing through it again is kind of fun.
Man, I missed a bunch of the Vox Populi secret stuff too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um, oh, back on Borderlands 2, is Krieg out yet?
No, Krieg is coming out in I think 3 weeks or so. What is it? The fourth? Yeah, I think he's coming
Okay.
out on later on this month.
I finally heard something that made me interested in that character.
Okay.
I heard that when he goes to the what do they call it? Whenever you're when you're dead but not dead, the
Oh, Fight for Your Life.
yeah,
Yeah.
fight for your life mode evidently turns into like a suicide psycho.
Nice. See
Like you get
that makes me a
bombs
lot
you through or
more
something.
interested in that character.
Yeah, like evidently they give him like several of the psycho attributes that
Wow.
go into it. So
Yeah, I might try that out. I might try that one out. Hmm.
I'm intrigued now. Yeah, I was like when they first announced it, I'm like, "Pff, I really don't care.
Yeah, I don't want to play as a psycho. That doesn't sound that great.
Yeah. On top of it, it's not in season one pass, and you guys haven't announced a season two. You're just announcing stuff. So,
Yeah. Hmm.
but okay,
Interesting.
anyway,
All right. Well, that's all the games I've been playing. So let's take a break.
okay.
All right. I thought I had read the title for the. Oh, okay. Hold on. I gotta change your title here.
Oh, yeah. I just realized it wasn't in there. Although there's really not much to say about it.
Yeah, but it's a much cooler title than the one that you had before.
Oh,
It's Assault on Dragon Keep. Because
do we want?
I read it originally and I read it as Dungeon Keep and I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, what is this gonna be? And then I read Dragon Keep and I'm like, dragons? Go on.
Oh man,
Yeah,
do we want to?
it sounds really cool. I'm excited to talk about that.
Do we want to talk about the Torment Kickstarter? Since
Did
that,
it finish?
yeah, it came and went between our episodes.
Jeez. No wonder why you were saying, "Oh, I wish we could have a Kickstarter PUP RPG Love episode."
Yeah. Well, I
Uh,
was really excited as it was going on, and now I'm like, yeah, I could talk about it a little bit, but I'm not sure. I don't know.
um, yeah, I guess if there's any good info on it. I mean, we could also talk about the Shadowrun Kickstarter going all the way wrong, but I kind of don't want to beat up on that game.
Oh, well, I haven't heard about whatever you're about to talk about then.
Yeah, you might want to check into that because the DRM free version that they are giving away for Kickstarters um, cannot be upgraded or updated like the normal ones. You have to re-download the game
Oh,
every time.
yeah. Well,
Um,
but from what I was reading about that, okay, I'm familiar with that part.
yeah,
And from what I was reading, they're going to release updates from the website to download, but at the same time, like on top of that copy, you can also get your Steam or GOG copy too.
right.
So,
But the one of the big main selling points that they were having through the Kickstarter one was that was the only way you could get the DRM free one.
mm,
And the Steam one, of course, is going to be DRM because it's Steam.
yeah.
There's no save anywhere. It's all checkpoints, which
Oh, that's not good.
is crazy. There's something weird about looting. Like either the loot tables are really small or you don't loot enemies. Something really weird where it's like, well, this is suddenly not sounding at all like an RPG.
Well, I watched that gameplay video and it looked freaking great.
Yeah, it all looks good. It just sounds like the particulars sort of started going wrong.
Well, and this was one of them. As much as I was excited about the Shadowrun world and playing in it, it
Hmm.
was actually one of the ones I was most worried about because the guys, like, they seemed like they wanted too little money. I mean, I'd never really heard of harebrained schemes before.
It seemed like
Um,
very small money and very big ideas. And
yeah,
now they're
and I
saying
wasn't.
like we didn't have the money to do that.
Yeah, I don't know. They didn't. They didn't strike me as organized as everyone else, and
Yeah.
um, it seemed almost like aside from the main two guys that keep doing the videos, it almost seemed outside the realm of the company to
Yeah.
do a game like this.
Well, and
So
the hard part they said they were having too is Microsoft owns the Shadowrun game license. So a lot of this stuff that they had to do, like having DRM on the Steam version and all that stuff, was due to Microsoft's licensing agreements. Which makes
yeah.
sense. I mean, if they own it, they're the ones that get to call the shots. But
Well, what's depressing me too about like a lot of the Kickstarter stuff is I read an interview with Brian Fargo
Hmm.
where he was directly asked about how they come up with the quantities, like the numbers for the Kickstarters.
Yeah.
And his, I don't even think I compared, but what I got out of it was that he's just like, yeah, $1 million sounded like a good number.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
And
there's
like,
almost no formula at this point where it's like, I don't know, maybe this much? Maybe a little
I,
more? Who knows?
yeah, I would think, especially with all the freaking backer rewards that you're doing,
Yeah.
I mean, you would very, very much want to have that stuff calculated out to a T.
Yeah, that's the
I
one thing
mean,
that I think the guys that made FTL learned really quickly from theirs. It's like, you can't just ask for enough money to make the game. You have to ask for enough money to make the game and fulfill the backer rewards, because they asked for exactly the amount of money that they needed to actually make the game, and then they went, oh crap, we have to like print T-shirts and ship them and ship posters and ship all this stuff. We totally forgot about that. And it ate into the
yeah.
game budget.
Well, I guess the one thing, um, honestly, Brian Fargo's Kickstarters, even though he gave that terrible answer, are
Yeah,
the ones that make me most comfortable because he sounds like the most organized out of,
yeah.
well, him and Obsidian actually sound the most organized to me out of all the other
Oh,
companies I've
yeah.
backed.
Obsidian had their stuff up front where like this is exactly what we want to do. This is exactly how much it's going to cost. If you keep giving us more, their stretch goals are really clear. It's really good stuff.
Yeah. So, I
All
don't
right,
know.
all
Time will
right.
tell on everything.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab some more water. I'll be right back.
Oh, that's a good idea. Me too.
Come on, cat, get out of the way. Yeah, I know.
How's everyone doing out there? Good to hear it. I don't dance. Oh man. So is I'm not recognizing your forum names. Are you guys on the TVGP forums? Oh, cool.
Sam, that's where I sit. Yeah, I do. Because I'm a person and not a cat. There we go. Ooh.
Always an animal cast. I bet you guys heard my dogs earlier, too.
Alright, I'm back. Sorry, I didn't have my headphones on. What's up?
Oh, I said, oh man, always an animal cast. I bet you guys heard my dogs earlier, too.
I saw one of them wandering around, but I don't know if I heard him.
I kept debating on yelling. I'm like, do I? If I ignore it, will it go away? They never listen to me when I yell at them anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, Sam. I know, now that it's during the day, you're asleep, but once it's 3 in the morning, you're running around the house. Yay, cats. Okay, boy, we don't have a lot to talk about, do we? For the rest of this. I don't have any tweets. Let me log into the email here. I don't know how to pronounce your name, Sakil. Yeah, we do. We have been streaming PUP. Here she asks, do you normally stream PUP? Yeah, we've been streaming for... Stop chewing that. Satkeel, okay. We have been streaming PUP for the last handful of episodes, I think.
It's been a little while, but we've been... It seems like when we started streaming, we hit a bunch of random times instead of our usual 2 p.m. Central and whatever time it is over in your neck of the woods.
Noon Pacific. Yeah. Yeah, we've been trying to keep it... everyone seems to really like the streaming, so been trying to do it for both my shows. I don't know where I was going with that. But yes. Sorry, it's been a really, really long week. I had 3 12-hour days I worked last week.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I didn't have any 12-hour days, but man, were my last 3 work days freaking busy as hell.
Yeah.
It's one of those... We get a bunch of projects, and they're like, yeah, you got 2 weeks to do it, and then 2 days later, yeah, we need those tomorrow.
Yeah.
Crap!
If we could have those yesterday, that'd be great. Yeah, I had a massive server outage, and we did a software release this week, which is like 2 days of working late. Whew. Good stuff.
Yeah, that does not sound pleasant.
No. Okay, we do have 2 emails, actually.
Yay!
And one of them... okay, well, one of them is pretty long, so that'll help us. Okay, you ready for the second segment here?
Yeah, let's do it.
Alright, starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk about RPG releases for May 2013. There are none. Spoiler alert. I've been looking for a couple of days, and Musum and I just looked before we did the show, and I got nothing. There aren't even many games in general coming out of note. Just a small handful.
Just take it as the calm before
the E3 storm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure a bunch of stuff will get announced. Really, they've released a bunch of RPGs these last few months that I still haven't played.
Time to catch up.
Yeah, good time for some Fire Emblem and Shin Megami Tensei and Etrian Odyssey.
Oh, yeah. 3DS time.
Yeah.
Alright, let's go on to news stories then. Skyrim Legendary Edition announced. It is the base game and all the DLC for $60. I don't know if they have a release date or not. Let me pull this bad boy up. But man, if you haven't played Skyrim yet, yeah, no release date. Oh no, June 7th. So right around the corner. If you haven't played Skyrim before, you really don't have a better time to play it than this. All the stuff's gonna be integrated. You don't have to spend forever downloading a 2 gig something or other.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll be on the disc or on a second installable disc instead of download vouchers, because that would not be great. But yeah, Skyrim's great. It's the first Elder Scrolls game that I really enjoyed. So, okay, I lost me some. Let's watch Skype do its thing. Oh, this show. Dun, 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 dun,
I hear
dun.
you. That's a good
There
sign.
you are. All
Right.
right. I don't see your camera.
It's. Let me turn it back on.
There we go.
Audio's improving.
All right.
Okay.
Whew. Oh, pup.
Always, man.
Always that Skype curse.
I blame my internet.
Okay. Let's. We were done with that news story, so let's scoot on to the next one in 3, 2, 1. Next news story here we got is Shin Megami Tensei 4 announced for the U.S. I think this was sort of a foregone conclusion here with how much stuff Atlas has been releasing, that if we get Soul Hackers, we're probably going to get SMT4.
Yeah.
And coming out July 16th, and of course, since Atlas is awesome, the first print run is coming with a design book / strategy guide thing and a soundtrack. For those of you that haven't been watching the announcements for the game, though, it will be a quote-unquote premium priced game, so it will be $50 on 3DS. I don't know how big the game is, so I don't know. I can't say like, yeah, for $50 that's still a great deal for this game. But it's an SMT game, so it's probably still going to be a good deal.
Yeah.
There's probably going to be a lot of game there.
I'm pretty sure you can assume minimum of 40 hours, and that book is like 150 pages or
It's
something
huge.
too. So
Yeah, and a big case too, big box that's coming into it. Looks
Yeah.
like.
although I will say, I hope they clearly segregate the walkthrough from the art book, so I don't accidentally spoil myself on enemies.
Yeah. I think they will, because it. I think it's like the first section of the Brady Games guide. It's like Brady Games Prima, one of those companies. The strategy guide that's in there is, the first chunk of that guide. So I'm sure they say Brady Games presents portions of their guide.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So hopefully, if not, then I'm gonna stumble upon some spoiler again and be like, oh, well, okay then. That person's gonna be in my party.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited for that game. I can't wait to. Everyone has been saying that it looks super great and all the screenshots are great. Just seems great. I'm gonna keep saying great.
I'm just great. Yeah, no, I'm pretty excited. I'm trying not to think about it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And honestly, when I do think about it, I think about all the SMT games I haven't beaten yet that I keep buying.
It's true. That's always going to be the problem.
But like Nocturne was one of my favorite games, and so like getting the sequel to the main franchise that will have nothing to do with the rest of the franchise, I'm
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited about.
Yeah. But that's coming out July 16th, so get your pre-orders in now, because I feel like that's going to be a pretty hot ticket here. They talked about it on the Nintendo Direct, which, speaking of, the April Nintendo Direct happened, and I personally really like these Nintendo Directs, because it's like getting a little E3 every month. In this time they had 3 RPGs to talk about. First one was Mario and Luigi Dream Team. There was a trailer for this, I think, last E3 or last TGS, where it's on either the 3DS or the Wii U. Basically, there's a main screen, and then Mario is going through Luigi's dreams in it. And you can mess with Luigi's face on the bottom screen. And the one that they were showing was you sort of tickle his nose and he sneezes, and this big, huge wind goes through his dream on the top screen where Mario's playing. So sounds like this kind of cool back and forth, mess around with the stuff on the bottom screen to change stuff on the top screen sort of thing. I don't think there's any release date for that, but they're coming out with so many 3DS games this year, probably this year. Earthbound is coming to the Wii U Virtual Console by the end of the year. So, super exciting for someone like me that, shamefully enough, has never played Earthbound.
Yeah, me either.
So I guess that's another reason for me beyond Bayonetta 2 to get a Wii U.
So, financial opinion. What do you think? If a bunch of people buy buy this game on Wii U? Do you think Nintendo could look at that and be like, well, maybe we should release Mother 3 over here?
No, I think as much as people really want Mother 3 over here, and I do too, there is 0% chance of that coming out here because of the semi-drug trip mushroom scene. I think
Oh,
there's no way to change that to meet Nintendo of America's sort of censorship requirements, and apparently it is critical enough to the story of the game that they can't just outright cut it. So
gotcha.
I honestly don't think I really don't think we're ever going to see it here in the U.S., which is a super bummer because I'd love to buy that game and play through it legitimately, but sounds like at this point I might need to just buy a copy of the Japanese one and then just play the translation. So, but the last game they announced was Bravely Default. It's finally coming to the U.S. in 2014 and to Europe in 2013. And I am so excited for this game. I really didn't think we would ever get this over here.
Okay, I remember being excited for this game, but I don't remember a damn thing about it.
It's basically a sequel to Four Warriors of Light, Four Heroes of Light, that
Oh,
DS game, and it's basically a Final Fantasy V sort of job system, Final Fantasy V, Final Fantasy Tactics sort of job system, with that super cool art style.
sounds good to me.
Yeah. In Six Chunks actually asks about Mother 3 in chat. He says, "What? It's called Rated M." Um, I don't think Nintendo will ever publish a Rated M game uh, because I think they need to uphold. That'd be like Disney releasing a Rated R animated movie.
Well, at the same time, the Wii has rated M games
Oh,
like
absolutely, yeah.
Anarchy Reigns. I'm sure there's another one.
Something in there, but they're not Nintendo developed and published, which I think
Yeah,
is the real difference. I think Nintendo still really wants to say like, "Hey, you can buy any one of our games, and they're going to be friendly for your kids." Not this crazy drug trip game, right, guys? Like I
it,
understand it, and it still sucks. But
is Earthbound a Nintendo? Isn't that what company owns that? I
HAL
guess.
Laboratories.
Okay,
But I
and I
think
guess they probably don't have a publisher in North America. I guess is the
yeah,
issue.
I don't think they do, and I think HAL typically publishes through Nintendo, and I don't know what Nintendo's treetop translation requirements are, but I think if they translate it, they'll probably publish it. So
Gotcha.
yeah, I don't. I think HAL Laboratories is this really weird, like second party publisher. So things get really, really strange.
Mm.
But the last news story here we have is the announcement of the final Season 1 Borderlands 2 DLC releasing on June 25th, and it is called Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep. I am not. I am what you would consider the opposite of a Tiny Tina fan. Especially, I'm reminded of that as I'm playing through Borderlands 2 again. But the premise of this game is what sold me. This DLC is what sold me. Basically, Tiny Tina is narrating the Vault Hunters playing a basically a D&D game, and then each quest in the D&D game is a mission in the game, and it sounds like you're pretty much going to be playing sort of like Knights of Pen and Paper on iOS and Android. It sounds a lot like that, where you're sort of diving into this really weird pseudo D&D game that Tiny Tina is DMing. So yeah, I'm 100% in for that one.
Yeah,
That
that
sounds
sounds
awesome.
amazing. I didn't realize we had anything left to our season one pass.
Yeah,
That's good
we've
news.
only had 3 out of the 4 DLC packs. So after I was just playing the Torg DLC again yesterday, and I'll finish it up again today. That one's really good. Unfortunately, the Hammerlock one was a little bit disappointing. Um,
I still haven't played that one because everyone keeps saying it's disappointing, and I
it's
liked the other two so much. I'm not ready to be
yeah,
disappointed yet.
it's pretty short, and I think a little bit of Hammerlock goes a long way. But I really liked the main villain of that DLC. He's he just can't ever get his stuff together. And it's really a great character.
Okay.
So that's coming out, and then hopefully they'll announce a season 2 pass and put out some more DLC because it
Yeah.
so far so good.
Throw Krieg into that season 2, and I'm in.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
want to buy Krieg and then have them be like, and season 2 that includes this guy, because that would
yeah.
suck.
No, that wouldn't be very good. All right, we don't have any tweets this month, but we do have emails. First email here is from Travis, and this is a bit of a long one, so everyone bear with me here a little bit. I haven't read it to begin with, so let's all experience this together.
All right.
He says, "Hiya, Boston and Musum. Hello, sir. First off, I want to express my appreciation for keeping it clean in both PUP and TVGP. As a single dad of a young son, it's nice to be able to put on your cast when I'm with him and not have to worry about his impressionable self being subjected to swears and scathing pessimism. We're still pretty pessimistic about some
I was
stuff,
about
but
to say, I'm
at least we're clean about it."
pretty sure I live in pessimism.
He says this level of maturity sets you apart from some of the other top class podcasts which are available and makes you my go-to source for anything video game. Also, I have very little time for more of the serious RPGs you discuss in your show, and guess I'm living a little vicariously through your discussions. Waxing nostalgic over the PSX JRPGs and idiosyncrasies is more fun for me at this point than trying to rush or mush through 60 hours of an actual game.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for the kind words. I always try very hard to put out a show you can listen to at work and not have to wear a pair of headphones. So glad you enjoy it, and sounds like your son enjoys it too. So
Yeah, thank you.
he continues. All that said, the reason I decided to email you is this, and he sent the link to I don't think we ever talked about it on the show, but there is a remix album Too Mellow put it out called Chrono Jigga, and it is Chrono Trigger with a whole bunch of Jay-Z songs, and it is quite possibly the best album ever made. When I started listening to it, I was like, I don't think this is gonna be very good at all. And man, it is astounding. It is really, the two of them just really complement each other really, really, really well. I can't recommend it enough. And I think it's free on this guy's Bandcamp.
That is insane.
Yeah,
You
it
just
is totally
spoke
free.
a bunch of insanity
Yeah,
at me,
those words
Boston.
don't go together.
Jay-Z and Chrono Trigger, sure.
Yeah, there's like 12 tracks in here. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, 12 tracks in here. It's so good. Everyone needs to go listen to it. He says, I know Chrono Trigger is your favorite RPG of all time. He says, parenthetically, I feel ya. And this absolutely blew my mind. I won't bother to describe it, as clicking the link pretty much tells it all. I'll leave it up to you to decide how you'd like to inform your followers. Maybe Musum already knows about this. I found it on Reddit. Yeah, I found it on Reddit too, and it's magic. Everyone needs to go check it out. And he continues here saying, sometimes people get questions answered on your cast, so here's mine. I recently got the Deus Ex pack. It includes 4 games, I think, on Steam for dirt cheap. For some weird reason, I felt like I should start from the beginning and play all the games. The original of the series is 13 years old now, and it's definitely showing its age with no checkpoint or autosaves, terrible sound, and slot-based inventory. But the story and voice acting certainly hold up well. The graphics are, of course, quite simple, and the environment's quite sparse. Basically, it's a bunch of square rooms with a set of 30 or so items, such as flower pots, barrels, cardboard boxes, trash cans, usually about 3 to 5 per room. He says, I simply cannot help myself from bashing all of the items in a room with my crowbar. Even this, though this mechanic is old and simple, some weird switch goes off in my brain telling me all pots and garbage cans have to die.
Yep.
Also, rats, some out of the garbage cans, if you manage to walk over them, they die with a horrible half cat / rat scream. I have no explanation for my compulsion to perform these acts. I'm otherwise a normal, well-adjusted person. Do either of you have any odd compulsions or OCD behaviors you'd like to elaborate on? Why do you think people do this? I think we as JRPG players probably have a weird compulsion in general of mass looting, because every time in a JRPG you go in someone's house, you're going through the cabinets, you're going through the
Hmm.
dresser, you're opening chests and smashing pots, and just like, I don't care what you have in here, I want all your gold, and I want that pair of pants you got going on, maybe a pineapple you got laying around.
Absolutely. And if I have a jump button, it doesn't matter how realistic the game is. I'm going to be jumping constantly. Like
Yeah.
Skyrim, I don't walk places, I jump places.
Just bunny
And Deus
hopping
Ex, I do
across.
that too. Like
Yeah. Even
it's
if it doesn't make
ridiculous.
you go faster, you just gotta keep on hopping.
Yeah, yeah. I think I played a game once where there was a jumping stat, and that's what did it to me. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think I tend to destroy most of the environment too in Deus Ex, but I'm trying to remember. It seems like the weapons were no, maybe you can't break a crowbar. It's been too long since I played it, but I'm pretty sure you can hide behind things.
Oh, nice.
So you may not want to destroy everything.
Yeah, maybe just destroy most things.
Yeah.
Satkeel in chat says, WoW has a mod that counts your jumps. I will never install that mod because that is dangerous. Alright, let's move on to the next email here because my voice is starting to give out. Next email is from Steven, aka Salis727 on PSN. It says, Hello, TVGP. I need a gamer recommendation, so please bear with me on this one. I think we had talked about this on TVGP before, and I forwarded this email onto the PUP email address here so we get our answers about this one. It says, I love all game types, but I've always really been drawn to fighter/brawler and action games. Parenthetically, Bruce Lee got me addicted to kicking butts. What can I say? I feel you. I don't play too many RPGs, mainly because I have a difficult time finding ones that really capture and keep my interest. All I had was a Super NES, didn't get any other console until PS2 came out. The first RPG I ever played was Chrono Trigger, and it absolutely amazed me. I was about, apparently this letters this month are, we love Chrono Trigger too. I know, don't we all? He continues, I was about 9 or 10 at the time, and I'd never before been so emotionally invested in a game's story and its characters. To this day, it's one of my favorite games that I can sit down and play through hundreds of times and still want more. I'm in that camp too. I still love playing that game. I also still pop in my PS2 game Disgaea Hour of Darkness. That one really impressed me. And that is like, that game's hardcore.
Wow. I was about to say you were like, yeah, I'm an action RPG guy, and yet I play
I
Disgaea.
love
Like
Disgaea, where we're jumping into items and leveling them.
the
Uh,
hardest of the cores of RPGs.
yeah, God, that game's so good though. He continues, so I've really been trying to go back and check out all the other legendary RPGs that I missed when I was younger, like Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy III. I just got Zelda: A Link to the Past for $25 on eBay. I'm very excited to finally discover this game because it's always up there with Chrono Trigger as one of the best Super NES games, and that's one of my favorite games of all time too. A Link to the Past is astounding. So my question is, are there any RPGs that came out in the last few years that are considered, at least in your opinions, to be that high caliber game that I'm seeking out? Thanks for your time. Your views are much appreciated. Um, I would say two recommendations right off the bat. Um, I would go back to the Carousel RPG love stuff and look at so basically if anybody listening to this show are interested in charting back the history of RPGs, or even the history of this show. Basically, Musin and I started this show over at the Carousel by talking about all of the RPGs we've played throughout our lives, all the way back to Commodore 64 and all that stuff. And there were a lot of games that we talked about that are real classics that we identified in that show. And if you listen to, I think, the very first episode of RPG Love on Picking Up the Pixels, I think we went back through and we talked about games to go through if you've been gone from RPGs and games that are great starter RPGs. And a lot of those are classics too. So I'd recommend listening to both of those because I don't remember what we said in any of those.
Yeah.
but do we have any other recommendations for RPGs, JRPGs that really leap out at us right now?
Um, the problem is people ask me questions like this, and I feel like I always have the same answer, which is you should check out the Persona series,
Yeah, exactly.
particularly
You should try
3 and 4.
Persona 3. Yeah.
It's and I love Persona 3, but honestly, I think Persona 4 is probably offendedly because of all the upgrades they did to it.
Yeah, it's a lot
Uh,
more accessible. And the
yeah,
PS2 version is really great. The Vita version is even better. There's more stuff in it. Yeah, Persona 4 is actually a really good one. And I think if uh, Steven really liked the characters and story of Chrono Trigger, I think with how character focused the Persona games are, I think he'll really gravitate towards Persona 4 a lot because they make those characters so that you really, really care about them in the end.
yeah.
They're not really just, oh, high school, eh. Like, they're really interesting characters to spend that game with.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember some older ones to recommend, but it's having a hard time coming to me. Like Deus Ex, I still think is a great game. You just got to
Mhm.
get past that Statue of Liberty level.
Yeah,
Uh,
no kidding.
but that's not a JRPG, so I guess that doesn't
No.
count.
I
Um,
actually I would almost say that we just recommend Persona 4. I mean,
just stick with that.
it's so great. It's such a modern game. Its battle systems are great. It's difficult enough without being too hard, and everything about it is really really great.
Well, and I think one of the best points I saw made about that game recently was the idea that people are always complaining about RPG mechanics and things like that, how it doesn't work that way. And in
Yeah.
Persona 4, like the story is built around those mechanics.
Yeah. Exactly.
Uh,
Yeah.
so it's pretty sweet. It's a really really well done game. It is
Yeah.
it gets the attention for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. There's no. It doesn't get a lot. People love it because it's a really great game, not because
Yeah.
it's sold a million copies or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, Persona 4, either the regular one or the golden, depending on if you have a PS2 or a Vita.
Yeah.
Either one is fantastic.
But if you did want to go check out the old RPG episodes on the Carousel, it's just the carouselpodcast.com and there's a series tab.
Hmm.
Just click on that and then you'll see RPG series and just click on that and that'll funnel all the posts with that tag on it and show you them from I think it's just the most recent one, so you'll have to scroll back a page or two, but
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of episodes on there. We go back to the at least early '90s, if not the '80s.
yeah, we
Yeah,
start pretty early. We got about I feel like we made it up to 10 or so episodes
yeah,
before we moved over here, so
yeah, something like that. All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for writing in emails, everyone, and thank you very much to everyone in the chat. If you'd like to visit us, you can do so at pickingupthepixels.com. Email us at fans@pickingupthepixels.com or tweet us at pickinguppixels. All that info is on the right-hand side of the page. And come watch the live stream. Come chat with us. Twitch.tv/E1M1 Network. The link and the time is on the right-hand side of the page as well. If you can't make it live, that's cool. All the episodes are archived on the Twitch page and exported to TVGP's YouTube page. So you can find it pretty much anywhere. I also encourage you to check out Musim's shows. Or sites. Let's say sites. Listen to the Carousel Podcast at thecarouselpodcast.com. And if you like his music in this episode, go buy some of his, because it's really good and it's very reasonably priced, over at listentomusim.com and musim.bandcamp.com. Any other sites you want to put a plug in for?
I zoned out a little bit. Did you mention your video game soundtrack?
No, yeah, the other two shows I do, that video game podcast where we talk about all of the games, is at tvgp.tv, and Dynamic Soundtrack is still out there. I haven't, not doing it right now, but all the old episodes, there's like 30-something episodes up there. If you like video game music, which you probably do if you're an RPG fan, go check it out at dynamicsoundtrack.com.
Yeah, music doesn't get old, so
That's true.
you put some good stuff up there.
Oh, thank you. And that's our episode, so thank you very much for joining me again, Musum.
Pleasure as always.
And our adventure continues next month. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us in chat. Usually we don't get anybody in chat. So
Yeah, it was exciting.
yeah, super pumped. So come back next month. We'll be here. First Saturday of every month. We'll be streaming it again, and we'll probably have problems again because we use Skype.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Thanks everyone for watching. See you next time.